Okay, so the pattern I've chosen for this build tutorial is this guy right here. In geometry, this is known as a frustum. And I know what you're thinking. That's it? I hear you, but hang in there with me. Now, this is an incredibly simple object, but for what we're doing here, that's a good thing. I wanted something that was functional, useful in a number of different ways, and easy to wrap our heads around so we could really focus on the process and best practices without getting too wrapped around the axle with the design. Now, we see these things all the time as planters, fire bowls, water features. It's a design that scales really well, not only in size, but in different proportions. It's easy to take it from a square bowl to, say, a rectangular table. Now, that said, this thing still presents some fun challenges. These compound angles are always tricky, so we'll work through those. And this is an object that can be cast a variety of ways. Monolithic pour, a traditional GFRC sprayed face coat with backer, and even a direct Buddy Road style press cast. So we'll fabricate the mold to have multiple configurations that will support however you want to cast it. In other words, an A-only open mold or an A-B split mold. Doing both will turn it into a 3-part mold that'll require some extra flanging, and I've got some tricks to dive into for us there. Now, over the years, as I've dove in deeper into mold fabrication, I've come to really embrace this mantra that states a perfect part comes from a perfect mold, and a perfect mold starts with a perfect pattern. For me, that really aligns with how I like to work. The more time and effort we put into the positive pattern, the less downstream work required to produce a high-quality concrete part. If it's worth doing right, and that is especially true when it comes to fiberglass tooling. Now, if this were a one-off, that'd be one thing, but we're doing this to use it dozens, if not hundreds of times. And implied in this is that while there might be more upfront work, over time that work will pay off. Now, for this project, for me, that translates to a really clean, defect-free pattern with as close to a Class A finish as possible, including clean mitered edges, hidden joinery, no screws or nails for fasteners. I really love the domino for projects like this because it supports what I just described, and it's also very forgiving on errors. It's also great to use for knockdown joinery to dry fit assemblies, make sure everything looks good and fits properly for a clean, finished pattern. As precasters, we've had upside down and backward drilled into our heads from day one, and we're so used to fabricating the mold directly that I think it's easy to overlook the traditional step in composite mold fabrication of first starting in the positive, prototyping, iterating on that design, refining it until we nail it, and then proceeding to pulling a mold. In this project, we're going to do just that, and modeling in CAD software is a great way to get started. Let's jump in.